Hello, and welcome to the Theresa Shingler Knits podcast. My name's Theresa. I'm a knitting pattern designer based in the Midlands in the UK. And this is a podcast mostly about my knitting practice, but also a bit of sewing because I do like to sew when I have the chance. I did do a first podcast probably almost a year ago now, so I'm rebooting and starting again and hoping there'll be no more major life changes of children coming home to homeschool and all the other things many of us have been dealing with over the past almost 2 years. My dog's here. He suddenly decided that when I start this after almost a year that he will put in an appearance. So hopefully he'll go on, off you go. So I will start with what I have recently finished. I'm knitting, that is. The weather here in the UK, because I have to talk about the weather because we just do. The weather here in the UK recently it's changed, and although it's not terribly cold this time of year, it's definitely mittens weather when the children are going to school some mornings. So I quickly got out my odds and ends of worsted and DK wool, and I knit up mittens for my little peeps. One of my favourite mitten designers is Tonje in Oslo. That's her username on Ravelry. She's Norwegian and she does such glorious patterns. I've been knitting from her patterns for quite a while, so I'll show you what I've made. These are Toddler teddy. The pattern itself says to use a lighter weight of wool, but I've used heavy worsted for these of my 5-year-old son. Look at these little paw prints, they're so cute. I used heavy worsted for my 5-year-old son, and they fit in perfectly. This is a Knit Picks undyed wool, and this will probably be Cascade 220. So those are his, and the pattern is called Toddler Teddy, and it's available on Ravelry. So they're for my 5-year-old. These, I've got my computer here so I can check the details. These are for my he's 7 now, so it's his birthday. I'm 7-year-old son, and he decided he wanted hot pink and lime green. It's not. Hopefully you can see them clearly. They are raptors with palm trees. Now in her pattern, she's in the same pattern. It's available with the palm trees and also with snowflakes. I'll try and put a picture of the pattern picture here if I can manage it. So he wanted the palm trees because he said raptors lived when it was hot. I have no idea whether raptors had palm trees or whether they're in completely different time periods, and I haven't looked into it. So, and they've just got a very classic. It's not easy to see in the bright pink and green, but he said this was a glorious green. Sorry, a glorious pink, and he has worn them to school, and no one said anything. So, which is what I was worried about. So those are his. They're knit in a DK. I think the pattern was for fingering, I think, but in DK they fitted him, and he's 7 now. And then for my oldest son, let me just check. Yeah, he's got this pattern with dragons. Now I'm Welsh, so he wanted red dragons. The actual pattern has different colour wings, and I think you duplicate stitch on top of it, but I'm terrible at duplicate stitching, so I didn't. This pattern is Lille Drage. Apologies for the pronunciation. And they got such sweet little footprints on the back. And these are knit in a DK. This is a hand dyed Masham. A Masham blend from Laxtons for the background, and the red is is from Woolyknit. It's a tweed. I'm not sure what the name of the wool is. Oh, and I didn't say, but this is just a superwash DK for my stash, just odds and ends. I haven't got a clue what that is. And these fit him. He's 9. I knit them on a size 4 needle, and they just fit him, so they won't fit him next year. But that's what I've been doing with the mittens. I've just dropped mine. And then for me, this is a really old pattern of mine, and it's just called Foxy wristers. I'll list everything in the show notes. I've been using these in the morning because I walk the dog as soon as I've taken the children to school, and these are perfect. But I have to get my mittens out soon because it's getting cold enough that I want my fingertips covered. Now, what else have I finished recently? Yes. This is one of my designs that I've just finished, and it's going into testing now. So as you can see, might be overexposed. I'll show the green one. This is an earlier version of it. There we are. You can see the detail of the stitch pattern much more clearly on this. This is an earlier version. The actual pattern is a bit longer and not quite so wide. I'll put it on. This is, oh dear. Oh, it looks ridiculous in hats. There we go. I'll put a picture up there. I asked my eldest daughter to model it for the pictures for the test knitting, because she looks much better in a hat than I do. I have no idea what it is, but I haven't found a hat that suits me yet. Not even any of the ones that I've designed, unfortunately. Oh, I should have said this knits up in a standard 4-ply fingering weight. This is a nylon-free sock yarn, a Corriedale, from Laxtons, and it's undyed. You can't see the colour properly. Come on. No, it doesn't want to focus. Well, we'll put that away. So that's everything. Oh no, it's not. I was having a big sort out of all my works in progress a couple of weeks ago. I'm putting away all the half-started projects and unravelling, and I came across a pair of socks, and the only thing that had to be done was the toe of one. And I've been waiting to wear them until I could share them. And these are them. The pattern is Emily Foden's Emily's favourite socks. It's my favourite too. I love this pattern. I know standard advice says to knit socks with negative ease so that the sock is smaller than your foot. I cannot abide tight socks. I've never been able to manage tight socks. I've always hated wearing store-bought socks. So knitting my own socks has been a complete revelation. But I cannot get on with tight socks at all. So I always knit. So the pattern for these does call for them to be oversized, and it's so cozy and it's so brilliant. And it's perfect for wearing in boots. And they are so lovely. So, yeah, those are them. The yarn was hand-dyed yarn that I dyed in the Robin Redbreast colourway, and it's a no nylon and British sock yarn. It's not available in my Etsy shop at the moment. There are a couple of shades left, but when the pandemic started and the children came home, I had to rethink of what I was doing with designing and knitting, designing and dyeing, and I decided to drop the dyeing because I dye at home in my utility room and kitchen, so it means I'm clearing everything away once the children have gone to school. I'm covering everything, dyeing, putting everything away, getting everything back out, you know, and complete. When the children were home from school, it just wasn't possible. And even though they're back in school now, quite often they'll be sent home for PCR tests, or a whole class will be sent home for a PCR test, or it's just, there's no, the uncertainty of whether they will be in on any given day and whether they will stay in once I've sent them to school is just, it's just awful. So so I have stopped dyeing yarn, and it's a pity because I really enjoyed it. I really loved playing with colour. It was, I love colour. I love mixing colours, but it just wasn't doable. So it does have the great advantage now though that I have quite a large supply of hand dyed yarn that I can use myself, which is rather nice. So these, yeah, so those socks were knit up in the first lockdown, and I remember caking up the yarn and taking it out of my Etsy shop and caking up the yarn, and then I have no memory whatsoever of knitting them. They were my stress relieving socks when it was all getting a bit much, and I'd knit, I mean, presumably I just knit them up without thinking, and I cannot remember them. I got them out and I was thinking, you know, and the toe needed doing. When did I knit these? But I recognised the yarn, but when did I knit these? So I think that probably shows that children being home from school and home learning was not the happiest time. I have a large family, and 4 of them are primary age, and 3 of them need very hands-on help. So yeah, you can imagine what my days were like with their home learning. I was very happy to get them back in school. What's next? Yes, so now is works in progress. Now, this is a long-term project, but I love it. This is, let me just bring it up on my computer so I can tell you about it. This is Galdor by Maria Skua. This is a lovely cardigan. Let me show you. It's a bit crumpled. It's a cardigan that's got this colourwork band all around the front, and then drop sleeves. The pattern, which I'll try and put up, is quite short. It's cropped and it's got cropped arms, but I wanted mine longer. Now I've had 5 skeins of this undyed Masham blend fingering weight yarn from Laxtons, and that's all I had. So I've been trying to work within what I had. So now it's lower hip length, it goes all the way down to here. So I've extended the colourwork band from the instructions. This is one front, it's much longer, and I will do the sleeves as long as I can. In the pattern they stop on Maria's arms, sort of just below her elbow. Well, I've got freakishly long arms, so if I knit them that length, it'd be like a t-shirt length. So I'm hoping to get this sort of length, and they're meant to have a colourwork band similar to this on the bottom, and I don't know whether to do it's got like a folded edge, and I don't know whether to do that or whether to do sort of like puff sleeves like this. It'll probably depend. If I finish it next spring, I'll probably do the wide arms, and if I finish it in winter, I'll probably do the closed arms to keep my arms warmer. The cardigan is knitting around from the bottom up, and it's steeped up the middle. I was very lackadaisical in my steeking. Didn't even read the instructions, which are very good. But having put it off for so long, I just slashed up the middle picked up the stitches, and then it started to fall apart. So don't do what I did. So I've had to do quite a lot of repair work along this edge, just along along here where the stitches were coming out, but you can't really see. And in Maria's instructions, once you've knitted the colour work here, you then do a purl row here, and then you knit a facing and then stitch it down over the steeked edge, so it's beautiful clean edge on the inside. What I especially love, I mean, this is so lovely. This was reminding me of Charles Rennie Mackintosh as I was knitting it, and in fact the whole feel of the garment to me is very much, you know, of that time. I can just imagine myself sort of wafting round in it, and probably people will roll their eyes, but I don't care. Anyway, what was I saying? The thing I particularly love is these front bands are mirrored, and then when you get to the back, to transition from one to the other, the back neck, it's got this lovely little sort of transition chart here. It's so well thought out, this pattern. It's absolutely fabulous. And then the arms are also cut open. Let me see if I can find. The arms are also cut open. So you have to steek the arms, cut them open, and then pick up the stitches. After my disaster of the front band, I was much more careful with these. So I've picked up both arms at the same time, because I now have one skein left. So I'm going to start on this one next until it's, so far my arm length is this long, which is about here, about just beyond my elbow. I will knit the other one this long, and then I'll take the yarn from the inside and I will knit both round and round to see how long I can get them. I want to do the colour work on the bottom, whether I do the sleeve as instructed, you know, with the facing, or whether I then decrease it into a cuff. But the colour work for the sleeves is also mirrored. It's a really lovely pattern, and I'm really keen to wear this. It's just fingering weight yarn, and I've had a lot of work on with my own knitting projects recently. So this is when I'm tired at night, I can whiz around. Lots of people talk about stockinette being boring or mindless, but I really love just whizzing round and round, and I don't have to look. I can, in fact, I'll be known if I'm tired, just close my eyes and just knit. I just love that. My husband laughs at me, but it's very relaxing and very meditative. I can't say that word. Anyway, next thing on the needles. This is a design of my own, and there's nothing exciting to show you. It is literally, the exciting thing here is the yarn. It's British wool. It's a 4-ply weight. It's from Woolyknit. I heard about it on the Creabea podcast, and I went straight onto their site, and I got a bit carried away because I also got, I've got two of it. I've got another brown as well as that one. I've also got these. For this one, for this design, it's going to be this colour with this colour and a tiny bit of that. This design, let's have the swatch here. So this design is based on gingerbread cookies with the pipes icing. And this is the swatch I've been working. I worked on my design ideas on. So as you can see, it's got heart motifs and a little bit at the bottom. So it'll be brown. The hearts will be this beautiful creamy colour with a little bit of for a pop of colour. But it's 4-ply. It's A-line shaped. It comes down past my hips, or just below my hips. I'm very tall, very long arms. It is going to take a long time to knit. Even with my love of whizzing round and round and round in stockinette, this is going to take a long time. This is quite interesting because I started designing this top down, and then when I swatched the charts and for the yoke, I realised the yoke had to be bottom up, because the stitches go like that, and of course the bottom of the heart and the sides of the heart, you want a nice smooth V. With the other way up, it was like a jagged all the way down and then jagged bit at the bottom, which might be a statement for hearts, but it's not particularly one I wanted for this. So I haven't decided yet, when writing the pattern, whether to do a hybrid construction, so it's a provisional cast on along here. I think Jennifer Steinglass has a pattern that way. Provisional cast on along the bottom and then knit up and then pick up the stitches and knit down. I might do it both ways. I'm also very tempted. This sample I'm knitting here is going to be quite long and A-line, mainly because that's what suits me. I do a lot of design work for publications and magazines, and the samples wouldn't fit me. They're too small and quite large, but they're also too short because I'm really tall. So in my own personal design work, I like to design not necessarily for tall people, but for and I like to make my patterns size inclusive. But I like a shape that would suit me too, because I think there must be other women of a certain age, well, not even women, people of a certain age who are, you know, perhaps not as trim around the waist and tummy as they perhaps once were, you know, and they don't want the shaping that I would have wanted at one stage. You know, it's just, you know, a nice gentle glide over the figure. Anyway, that's a complete sidetrack. This sample is that gentle glide over the figure, but I also quite like cropped to the waist, because I like to wear lots of high-waisted skirts that then flare out. So I might do a second sample that is just straight down. I mean, I'm unlikely to ever design anything, you know, of one of my own patterns that has waist shaping to go in, because I don't really go in. So it'll just come down from the bust, and then I don't know whether to do one that just stops at the waist. You know, have two, because then, you know, because then there'd be the two options of the gliding A-line shape and the stop at the waist. And then if I were to do the option of the hybrid yoke as well, so you could cast on here and knit up, you know, provisional cast on, knit up, and then go down. There'll be four options in one pattern, which might be a bit daunting. If I come, you know, I very rarely knit anyone else's patterns that are daunting. My own aren't terribly simple, but I never want to design something that makes people go, ooh. So I haven't decided that, but it's gonna be a long time, because yeah, 4-ply, long and quite wide. That will take a while. Oh, my swatch in this yarn. I was going to say about this yarn. It's a worsted spun British yarn. So it's not as fluffy as, say, Holt's. Is it Holt's? The Holt's Gone Super Soft. You know, or the Shetler ones. It's interchangeable with that. I would say, but it doesn't quite have the same effect. So this is a swatch that I knitted up. Now, when I first washed it, it was still kind of, I mean, I don't think you can see. No, you can't see. You can't see any light behind it because I've got the window here. It was quite stringy, and the yarn still looked quite thin, and it smelled sheepy. And I don't like my finished knitwear to smell sheepy. I like to not smell like sheep. I like rustic wools, but I don't like the smell of sheep. So then I gave it I put it in hot water with washing up liquid. And I just let it sit and until it cooled. And the amount of spinning oil, I was absolutely amazed. And the texture of the yarn changed so much. I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say it's next to skin soft, but I have ridiculously sensitive skin. I mean, alpaca it's difficult for me. I've got a cashmere jumper that I have to wear a turtleneck under. I've got really, really sensitive skin. So, I mean, it'd be fine with a t-shirt under it. But the difference is huge. It's really, I mean, it's really, it's got a bit of a, hasn't got much of a halo, but it's just got a little bit of a halo. It's really lovely wool. It's really lovely to knit with. It's incredibly good quality. There've been a few podcasters recently talking about yarn cost and affordable yarn, and it's been like a breath of fresh air. There's been Creabea who I found out about these from, and is it Lauren Knits with a kiss, a cross at the end. Her podcasts are really, really lovely, and she talks quite a lot about affordable yarn as well. It's a breath of fresh air. So it's lovely to find British wool that is quite affordable, really. Is that everything? I've leathered on for almost half an hour. What's next on my needles? Well, there's that jumper, and the cardigan to finish. I'm going to knit myself some mittens. I'm not sure whether to do a skein-deer pair. I've got lots of her knitting patterns on. I haven't knitted many of them. I don't know why, really, because I love them. I think it's just lack of time. I've also got a Norwegian knitting book. See if I can put a picture up. But I've knitted lots and lots of mittens out of in the past, and I might knit that. I've also got quite a lot of sock tubes that need heels before Christmas, so it's not a huge amount of fun. too much thinking and not enough fun there, really. Anything else? I think that's it. If you've got this far, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to be back rather sooner than last time. Thank you. Bye.